loss of capacity to investigate and to prosecute crimes can create a chaotic situation in any country and also lead to the breakdown of all the organized social structures of society. Now, this has happened in several countries of Asia and I am sure also in several other developing countries. I wish to illustrate this by using an example from Sri Lanka, where the people are commemorating the second anniversary of a horrendous crime of several bomb blasts being happening in several Catholic churches and also Christian churches and several hotels. In 2019, April 21st, this bomb blast killed over 260 persons and seriously injured over 500 persons. Now, 2 years after the incident, no really serious investigation has taken place into these crimes, and there is a hue and cry throughout the country questioning this failure to provide justice for the victims and survivors of this crime. To understand why this investigation did not take place, one has to go to the way any criminal investigation would happen under normal circumstances. Under normal circumstances, when there is any information that a certain crime is going to happen, it would be the task of the criminal investigating units immediately to begin investigating the plan for that crime and to take the necessary action to prevent it. Now, there was plenty of time to doing this in this particular case, because already 2 weeks before this bomb blast, information was given to the intelligence authorities by a foreign government about the possibility of such bomb attacks and more or less indicating where they will happen, and this was confirmed a few days before the incident, once again giving even the names and the details of these persons who are going to carry out this crime. Now, while the political responsibility for this negligence could be discussed, the real issue of prevention of this crime depended on how the police investigators would have acted under those circumstances. All evidence points to the fact that they did not act on the information they received. Now, once the incident has happened and these injuries have taken place, under normal circumstances, first thing the criminal investigators would do is to meticulously to collect evidence, because they know at the end this evidence would have to be led in a court of law which follows the rules of evidence as laid down by the country's laws and also the criminal procedures. So, collecting information of details of a crime is enormously difficult and requires high professional skills and commitment. This is a job that could be done only by people who are trained in the criminal investigations. Now, a distinction must be made about information received by intelligence services, whether it is the intelligence services of the military or investigation services of the police or the government. They could only receive such information and pass it to those who are responsible, but actually investigating into the matter is a work that has to be done by criminal investigators trained and have experience in doing this work. This is a professional job, like being an engineer is something that only engineers can do. Being a lawyer is something that people trained in the law can do, and being a doctor is a job that only those who are trained in medical profession can do. Criminal investigations is also falls under the same category. Now, why didn't the criminal investigators of Sri Lanka fail to carry out a proper thorough inquiry all this time? Stop. In fact, it should have been done within the very few first days, and for that there are now various methodologies including the use of forensic methods. The use of forensic methods is far more sure evidence that could prove a crime before a court of law than merely collecting a few statements. Why the Sri Lankan criminal investigators under the criminal investigation division fail in this job can easily be explained now. These criminal investigation units have been under severe attack. That attack began over a long period by way of politicizing criminal investigation. One government may want to put some people who did some wrongs in the past government to be brought into justice, and they will direct, the politician will direct the inquiries in those investigations. What the criminal investigators do will not become independent professional work of their own, but something behind which there is a political hand. And then at a later time, the former people will come back to power again, and then their main occupation will be, first of all, to get rid of the cases that are against them. So for this, they will do many things, one of which is to get those who did the criminal investigations replaced. Many of them, knowing that this is going to happen, leave the country. So some of the criminal investigations some few years back are now outside the country. Some others could be put into even arrested on various charges. The important issue is that the system and those who are operating that system lose the confidence that they are allowed to do the investigations they wish in the manner prescribed by their profession, and that work will lead to prosecutions only within the framework of law, and their responsibility will be within that framework of law only. They are responsible only to the legal principles. Now, if this is removed and all kinds of interferences will come, the system will virtually get disrupted, confused, and also many people will lose morale and will not want to do their professions as required. Now, that matter has not been investigated and looked into at all, and it is not possible to look into that because the entire political system rests on the fact of inefficient criminal investigations. When big crimes are done by powerful people, like for example misappropriation of state properties or engagement in high levels of corruption, interferences into the country's financial system, and allowing those who are close to the government to misappropriate properties, to engage in land grabbing, and engage also in many illegal businesses, then the criminal investigations cannot happen, because that will put people who are in high position into trouble. Since the system has got disrupted, there was no criminal investigation into this horrendous crime. The result is to turn it to all kinds of political discussions and debates till the matter is gradually kept out of the human memory and recedes into something of the past. And that is the expectation. All crimes will be forgotten soon. The principle that a serious crime can be investigated even many decades after the crime is lost in Sri Lanka. If a criminal is able to get away for a few 1 or 2 years, more or less it is sure that that will be the end of the matter. So this is an extraordinary crisis which affects not only this incident but every other incident. The country where even a road is not safe. There are so many road incidents where people are killed almost in unbelievable numbers. Even to that extent this spreads because everything hangs together in the modern society by the capacity to have criminal law which defines what the crimes are, and then enforce that law so that everybody live within a discipline. To talk about a discipline without law is an absurdity in the modern society. Every activity, whether it's running a shop, running a school, or engage in any kind of activity, requires certain framework of law and the capacity to enforce law. Capacity to enforce law is in the hands of criminal justice division. It is not in the hands of politicians. It is not in the hands of intelligence services, whether it is military, police or government intelligence services. It is the criminal investigators that keeps the overall framework within which people get to know if this is done, then the law will catch me up. Now, when that is missing, the society lives in a nightmare, and that has become a political strategy. If you want to do whatever you want, if you want to abuse power, if you want to acquire properties for yourself and for your friends, all that you have got to do is to dismantle the criminal justice system. After that is all about complainings and talking and all these things, which leads to no action. Crime requires action. Action to prevent it by catching those who do the crime, and also creating a mentality within the society. We have the capacity to deal with crimes. So, if those who are involved in this particular issue, as well as total issues that are going on around this area, what they need to concentrate is to ask what happened to this criminal justice framework. It has been lost in many countries, for example, Cambodia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and even Pakistan, and places like that. So, there is a global, the issue involving millions of people, involving many societies, but a problem that nobody is yet trying to grapple with. Without grappling with this, talking about issues like this massacre which happened on the April 21st is just ultimately a trivial talk, which ultimately turned gradually into cynicism, and where people lose faith in all these systems. And that, unfortunately, is what is happening and what is being confirmed over and over again.